This year marks the 10 years since the launch of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit. Launched in 2016, the National Inquiry was created to examine the systemic causes of violence against Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit all across Canada, and to also give families a space to be heard. And in 2019, the final report was released recognizing this violence as a genocide and issuing 231 calls for justice. It was supposed to be a turning point for families like mine. It was supposed to be a moment to finally speak. I need to tell you the truth about what happened when I tried to share my sister's story with the National Inquiry. When the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit began, I truly believed that it was going to be something for families like mine to be heard. So I showed up. I sent emails. I shared my sister's story. I followed up. I waited. I made myself available over and over again. And still, I was ignored. Not once, not twice, but for over a year. I documented everything, every email, every missed call, every time I reached out, just trying to be given the chance to speak. There were times I had calls scheduled and no one called me back. There were times I followed up with nothing hearing back again. And then there was times that I sent my sister's story over and over again, just hoping someone would finally read it. I did everything I was supposed to do as a family member, and still, I wasn't given that space. And at one point, families like mine, we had to come together just to hire a lawyer to be included in this process that was supposed to be for us. Think about that. Families of the missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit had to go to court just to be heard. And even then, it was too late for many of us to participate in the earlier hearings. I kept trying. Even a year later, I reached out again. I resent my sister's story. I followed up again when no one responded. Nothing. Then finally, I received an email asking if I wanted to testify. And I said yes immediately. No hesitation, no holding back. I said yes because I was ready to speak about my missing sister. I was ready to say her name in a space that was supposed to matter. But after over a year of being ignored, I was given less than a week's notice to prepare myself emotionally, to travel, to speak about one of the hardest things I've ever lived through. And I still said yes. I rearranged my life. I made plans for my sons. I made sure I could be there. I even tried to make it easier for them by offering to drive, adjusting locations, asking, for the bare minimum to support my health. I did everything I could to show up. And then just days before I was supposed to go, they told me they had no information, no itinerary, no confirmation, no plan. And then the next day, it was just gone, canceled, with no follow-up, no rescheduling, no real explanation. And after everything that I've done, after everything I had prepared myself for, I was never given that moment. I was never given the space to share my sister's story the way it was promised. And in the end, my story, along with so many other families, had to be submitted by a lawyer, not spoken, not witnessed, not held in the way it should have been. And that stays with you. Because when you finally had the strength to speak, when you are ready to share something that painful, and that opportunity is just taken from you, and you don't get that moment back, that's something that people need to understand. My voice, my platform, it didn't come from nowhere. It came from being ignored. It came from being dismissed. It came from fighting over and over again just to have my sister's name heard. So now, I don't wait. I don't wait for permission. I don't wait for someone to give me a platform. I speak because I have to. I speak because my sister deserves that. I speak because there are so many other families who are still waiting to be heard, and I will never stop. No more stolen.